Hey guys, welcome to another video. I'm Chris, this is the Salty Trips channel, and today we are going to talk about picking out a tow vehicle and an RV. There's a lot of things you need to know, some very important numbers you need to understand, and there's one big mistake a lot of people make, and we're going to go over that, so stick around. So you're thinking about buying an RV, or you're thinking about getting a truck to tow an RV. There's some important numbers that you really need to know before you go into either one. Whether you already have a truck and you're looking to buy an RV, or you know what RV you want and you're looking to buy the truck. And these numbers are what is going to determine what is going to work with what. But we're going to go over all that, and hopefully this will help you out. All right, guys, so whether you're buying a travel trailer or a fifth wheel RV, all these numbers are going to be important to you. So you need to understand what they are and how they affect your ratings and stuff. We're going to go over the trucks first. The truck will have a tow rating, and it'll have a gross vehicle weight rating, a gross vehicle combined weight rating, and a front and rear axle weight rating. Those are four numbers, well, technically five, that are very important, because a lot of people think that the tow rating is probably the most important thing to know, and that is not the most important number. The gross vehicle weight rating, which will let you know what your payload is. Your payload is your gross vehicle weight rating minus how much your vehicle weighs. So let's say you have 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating, and the truck you have weighs 7,000 pounds, you have 3,000 pounds of payload. That's how much of stuff you can put on it. And that's not what you can put inside the bed of the truck. That's everything. That's people, your fifth wheel hitch, any extra goodies, tools, a cup of coffee, anything that adds weight to your truck will take away from that payload. Doesn't mean that if you have 3,000 pounds of payload, you can put 3,000 pounds of weight in the bed of your truck, and then you can get in the vehicle. Because as soon as you get in the vehicle, you've added more weight to it, so you're over your gross vehicle weight rating. Hope that makes sense. The thing you got to figure out is especially pulling fifth wheels, is you're going to run out of payload way before you run out of towing capacity. With travel trailers, the tongue weight, any weight pressing down, that goes against your payload because it adds weight to your truck. But the travel trailers are usually about 10 to 15% of the trailer's weight is on the tongue. And fifth wheels is closer to like 20% of the trailer's weight is tongue weight. Like, let's say you have a 10,000 pound travel trailer, then you're looking at 1,000, 1,200 pounds of tongue weight. But like, you take a 10,000 pound fifth wheel, then you're looking at almost 2,000 pounds of tongue weight. Give or take a little bit. So let's go over these numbers. Your tow rating, it is not set in stone. Let's say you see a commercial for an F-150 says it can, they can tow 14,000 pounds. That is very rare. Every single truck, the tow rating is going to be different for an F-150. Every single one that comes off the assembly line, just depending on what options it has. You have to go onto like the Ford website, and they will have like a chart that pops up, and you have to put in your engine, your cab configuration, your bed configuration, your axle configuration, and at the end it'll tell you you can tow conventionally this much weight, or you can tow a gooseneck or fifth wheel with this much weight. You have to go in there. You can't just assume what you saw in the advertisement is what your vehicle is rated for. You have to go check that out. Same thing with Chevy or Dodge. All of them, you have to go to the manufacturer's website, find the chart, and find out what your truck is actually capable of towing. Most of the time, they will not put that in the sticker on the inside of your door jamb. But there is a sticker inside the door jamb that has all your other information. And we'll kind of show you that in just a second. All right, guys. See, in this truck right here, it has your gross vehicle weight rating. And up here, it has your payload capacity, tire pressure, and all that stuff like that. So that's where you find that information for what we're about to talk about next. All right, so I talked a little bit about the gross vehicle weight rating. That's the max your vehicle can weigh, anything on it, Like this truck is 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. It cannot legally weigh more than 10,000 pounds. You know, we can discuss like the legal ramifications back and forth or whatever. Could an insurance company deny your claim if you were towing something over its rated capacity? Should you be liable if there was an accident? That's something you really ought to think about. You have to figure out your gross combined vehicle weight rating. I think the gross combined vehicle weight rating for this truck is like 21,000 pounds. Funny thing is, the tow capacity for this thing is 14,700 pounds. The truck's gross vehicle weight rating is 10,000 pounds. So you would think it would be able to tow 24,700 pounds. That's not true. So even though the towing capacity and the gross vehicle weight rating is less than the combined vehicle weight rating, you have to factor that in. So you just have to make sure that you know those numbers. We'll take this truck and this trailer for example. We bought this truck first, and the market was very slim at the time, and I was trading in my F-150 because I knew we were going to start the RV life. We were looking at travel trailers, which, you know, they have a lower tongue weight, so the payload capacity wasn't quite as important. So I traded in my F-150 for this F-250, and I have a little over 3,000 pounds of payload capacity, almost 15,000 pounds of towing capacity. Then we started going to the RV shows. My wife really started looking at the fifth wheels, and I got into them. I'm like, man, I really like the height. I'm 6'5", so it was really tempting to go up to a fifth wheel. A little bit roomier. It seemed a little more homier because we were going to be full timing, and we had a little bit more storage, which we really hadn't considered too much. So we decided to go with the fifth wheel. And at that point, I already have this truck, so I have to stay within the bounds of the ratings of this truck. So my wife got online and she's sending me all these fifth wheel advertisements on OfferUp and Facebook and all that stuff, you know. And she would send these to me, and the first thing I would do is I would look up that model number and see what the tongue weight is, because basically it had to be under 2,000 pounds of tongue weight, because this truck weighs right now, with the fifth wheel hitch in it and me and my wife and stuff like that, we're looking at probably about 7,700 pounds. So that only leaves about 2,400 pounds of payload left for the tongue weight of the vehicle we're going to be towing. So if something was at a 2,000 pound tongue weight, I unloaded, I'm leaving about 300 or 400 pounds extra to be added with all the gear loaded up. So my wife kept sending me all these vehicles, and I would look at the tongue weight and I would have to say, nope, we can't do that. It's too much. If it was over 2,000 pounds, I was like, no, keep looking. We went over and over and over, and we finally found this one. The tongue weight was like right at like 1,900 pounds unloaded. So that left us 400 or 500 pounds extra tongue weight loaded up. So we're pretty close to maxed out at what we're allowed to tow, even though this is still almost 2,000 pounds under the towing capacity of this truck. You can see why I said towing capacity isn't always the most important, because the payload is, because we were going to run out of payload long before we run out of towing capacity. So you just have to factor that in. And when you're doing it with a travel trailer, it's the same thing. If you're towing with a half ton, which those things, most of those are about 1,800 pounds payload. If you have a 10,000 pound travel trailer and you have, like, you know, 1,100, 1,200 pounds of tongue weight, that only leaves you about 300 pounds to put inside the truck. So if you have camping gear, or like you want to put like a generator, or your wife, how many kids do you have? Do you have dogs and stuff like that? All that adds up against, and you're going to lose that 300 pounds real fast. I would highly recommend, if you're looking at these numbers, make sure you get something that is going to give you some leeway. Like, honestly, I wish I would have got the 1 ton, because that would have given me almost 1,000 more pounds of payload capacity. And that's not always true too, because you can get some 3/4 tons and some 1 tons with the same payload capacity. So it doesn't matter if you have a gas or diesel, you just have to look at those payload numbers. And how do you find out what the trailer you want to get numbers are? Well, you can, you know, go online and they'll have like a general idea of what they are, but like, it's just like trucks and stuff, they're all a little different because they all have different options on them. So the more options you have, the heavier it is going to be. But like all these trailers, they will have a sticker just like a truck does, and that'll tell you the gross vehicle weight rating and how much your payload is and like what your tire pressure should be at. When you figure out which one you want to get, don't just go by the website. Actually look at the sticker on the travel trailer. It may be off from what the website says. All right, so should you get a gas or should you get a diesel? I've seen quite a few other YouTube channels that are towing with gas all over the country, and people that are towing with diesels all over the country, and it's not stopped them one bit. Just look at your budget, look at these numbers, and make a good decision for yourself when it comes to that. All right, now we're going to talk about gross axle weight rating. You probably thought we forgot about it, but that's important too, especially like with the fifth wheels. You're putting a lot of weight. Let's say without being hitched up, let's say I got 4,000 pounds already on the rear axle. Let's say I had an extra 1,000 pounds of payload, but my rear axle is only rated for 6,400 pounds. Then if I go over 2,400 pound tongue weight, even though I have more payload, it's going to reach my rear axle weight rating. All right, so now that you understand what all these numbers mean, that's how you can determine what vehicle you want to get. You found the RV of your dreams, whether it be a travel trailer or fifth wheel. You go look at those numbers on its gross vehicle weight rating and assume that you're going to max it out. And you go by that. Don't go by its unloaded weight. Just assume that it's maxed out, and then you go buy a vehicle that can tow that much weight, that can take, if it's a travel trailer, say 15% of the tongue weight. Let's say make sure you have plenty of room for payload capacity and yourself, your children, firewood, generator, whatnot, what have you, and have a little bit extra left over. And then if you want to get a fifth wheel, take the gross vehicle weight rating and take 20% of that and assume that's what your tongue weight is going to be. Some have a little more, some have a little less. It does not tell you the tongue weight on that sticker over there, just the gross vehicle weight rating and its payload capacity. So a good rule of thumb is 20%. So then I would just get a vehicle that has a little bit of extra, whether it be gas, whether it be diesel, whatever. Go find the vehicle that has a little more towing capacity than what that trailer is rated for, and more payload capacity than you think you'll need, because that runs out so fast. And let's say you already have the truck and you're looking at travel trailers, the same thing. You just do it backwards. You look at your gross vehicle weight rating, your payload, you go online, find out what your actual tow rating is, your combined vehicle weight rating is, and then you find a trailer that doesn't exceed any of those numbers. Just take those into consideration when you're thinking about it. And then we're going to get to the number one mistake people make when they're looking for a tow vehicle, or if they already have a tow vehicle and they're picking out an RV. So I see this over and over again on social media. People go and ask complete strangers, which I'm a complete stranger too, but I'm just telling you to go look at the numbers. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you to, go look at the numbers and figure it out for yourself. And that's what you should be doing. Don't go listen to strangers on Facebook, because there's so many people out there giving horrible, bad advice. Most of it's bad. There's so many people out there I see like, oh yeah, you can tow a 14,000 pound fifth wheel with a half-ton truck, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. Go get a Chevy, or go get a Dodge, or go get a Ford. They can tow anything. Just don't listen to those people. They don't know what they're talking about, because obviously the only thing that are important are these numbers. And if they're not discussing those numbers with you, then they don't know what they're talking about. So just do your research and be safe out there, guys. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. If it was, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all that fancy mess. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Let's us know that you appreciate it. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you guys. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Bye.